Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Ryan Cox and Charles Nix here at Today we're going to show you guys some techniques for passing an open guard, and we're going to look at two different ways to get in on the guard when our opponent is kind of sitting in a defensive position with their hands up and feet up. So we're going to take a look at two ways to get in there, and then once we get in there, we're going to take a look at going into a hip block pass from the headquarters position. So the way we're going to do this is if Charles is in that defensive position, he's hands up, I'm going to encounter his guard. I want to have like a really good base with my feet. I want to kind of be on my toes, athletic position, good posture, head up, eyes up. Now when I come in, I'm going to grab Charles by the outside of his ankles, just above his heels. And now from here, I'm going to lift and put him back on his back. Now from here, as I'm lifting, I'm going to continue up with the legs and rotate my hands to the insides of his legs. And now I want to step in deep into the back of this knee here. With my other hand, I'm just going to kind of circle this leg down between my legs. And right away, I want to connect my elbow to my knee. And I want to kind of get heavy and be sitting on this leg here. Now, I'm going to take a shuffle step to the side. And the whole time, I want to keep my hand on this hip, trying to kind of glue that hip to the ground. I want to be pinning his other hip with my knee. And my knee is right on his thigh, and that's what I'm using to pin that hip. Okay, on this side, the hand that I have on his hip, I want to be creating a wall so that Charles can't bring his knee in between my elbow and my body. That's what I don't want. Okay, so I want to create this wall by connecting my elbow to my thigh. My hand is on his knee over here. I'm going to cut my knee down his leg, and once my knee is on top of his knee, I'm going to swivel my foot to the outside, freeing that foot. Now I pop up onto my toes, and I want to rotate my body towards his hip until both of my arms are straight. And if you notice, like I'm on my toes here, I'm putting a lot of pressure down, one hand on Charles's knee, the other hand into his hip. Okay, now I might need to rotate just a little bit more so I can get my shoulder directly in line with my hand. Once I have that alignment, I'm gonna run around his legs in a circle. Then I'm gonna drop my ear to his back and drive forward until I can secure my seatbelt position. Then you guys know the rest from here, right? I'm going to take the knee up by his head, bottom side foot flush with his back, step this other foot over, pull him back into my lap until I can get my hooks and secure this backpack position for 3 seconds, and then I'm going to get my points for securing that control. Okay, so the second way, and both ways are really good, but they kind of have like different utilities. The second way is a little bit more brutish. I'm going to kind of just plant on Charles' shoulder, and then I want to be kind of at an angle with him. So my body is in line this way. And then when I plant on his shoulder, I want to connect that thigh to my elbow right away as I'm coming in. Boom. Just putting him to the ground here. Now, this hand's going to come back to the hip. This hand that's on the leg, I'm just going to kind of use my hand and then use my body weight as I shuffle to the outside. I want to pin this knee down, again creating this wall on this side. Now, as I cut my leg down his knee, I'm going to swivel my foot to the outside of his guard and pop up to my toes and walk around until my arms are straight. Then I'm going to use that alignment through my hand and drive around these legs in a semicircle. A lot of shoulder pressure on the hips here. And now I'm going to drive my head up, looking to get that seatbelt position. I'm going to drive my knee up by his head. This bottom side foot is going to swivel until it's flush with his back. Stepping over. I'm going to pull again until I pull him into my lap. Get my hooks, get my points. Now I can start attacking collars from here and looking to finish the fight. So something you'll encounter when you're doing this, when you go to execute this hip block pass, right? The person on bottom doesn't want the pass to happen, and it's going to be kind of intuitive to them to start escaping their hips, start shrimping. So when they start escaping the hips, sometimes if they are more aggressive on their hip escape than their shoulder escape when they're shrimping, so if they get more of this action going on, instead of having the hips and shoulders going, we're going to be able to take advantage of that here. So when I get in on this hip block pass, right, we're in, boom, hand on the thigh, everything's the same. I cut it out, swivel, drive through the legs, right? Charles is shrimping. I'm going to take advantage of this position here. I'm going to drop my elbow down to his chest and rotate around to this side until I can take the back. If I can't take the back, side control is a really good option as well. Sometimes, you know, you can kind of get a little bit of lift here and then start looking at taking the back again. Or if you can't get that lift, again, we can just keep our nice tight pressure. And once you get to this position, you're going to get the points for passing the guard. You just got to maintain that control for about 3 seconds. A really common error that people make when they go for this hip block pass is when they get into position, you know, they'll do all the steps correctly until it's time to actually pass. So they'll get the feet to the outside, they'll get everything lined up, but they kind of shortchange themselves here. They just want to kind of drive through the hips and drive the hips to face the other direction. And like, man, especially when you have a size discrepancy like there is between me and Charles here, if you try passing the hips that way, it's never gonna work. So when I get in on this hip block pass, the way that I'm gonna be really effective is when I cut this leg out and I get behind my arm. I'm trying to run, like, if you think about the letter J, I wanna run the bottom of the letter J around Charles until I come to the other side here. So don't try to drive through the hips. We wanna drive around the hips until we get to the other side. That's going to be a way to make this hip block pass much more effective.